in terms of GST, which was earlier, which has now been brought to 5, but the setups are not given, it keeps on compounding. So for example, if you are doing a conference in India, the end result is you end up spending 30 to 35% on taxes alone, which makes it difficult for any company, etc., to do events in India. So the first key aspect is we need to look at a holistic element of taxation, indirect taxation I'm talking about. The whole concept of GST earlier was very good, which is you subsume all taxes, but they are still now, you have VAT on petrol, you have VAT on liquor, you don't have set-offs available. So this compounds, making it one of the more expensive aspects. The second aspect is in terms of marketing investment. As I'm sure all of you are aware, or probably not aware, India currently doesn't have a marketing budget for inbound tourism. And we do not have a marketing budget. It's a very insignificant marketing budget. So recently, as was mentioned, Faith had a conclave, and Mr. Amitabh Khan made an observation saying that we should allocate 20,000 crores. Now, let's leave this number apart. Most of you are businessmen. For growing your business, you do spend in marketing, right? You spend maybe 1% of your turnover in marketing, 2% in marketing. Similarly, in India, we should, if you are getting 3 lakh crores from foreign spends, which is approximately $30 billion, and it is estimated that the tourism economy is approximately $185 billion. At least 1% should go in marketing, at least 1%. So second suggestion, Mrs. Uchi, is that we should create a corpus for marketing for Indian tourism. And the third element is how should this corpus be spent? Now, we are a democracy, which means that political parties come and go, our bureaucrats on a rotation come and go. How do we ensure that the activities which are started, with good activities started by one officer, continue? So marketing activities, when they are started, need to continue irrespective of the change in the secretariat or the Ministry of Tourism. So we need to create now, for example, USA is something called brand USA. Irrespective of who comes in power, brand USA is continuously funded through a very unique business model. We need to look at a similar concept for India. How do we ensure that we have a brand corpus for Incredible India, which keeps on getting funded from the tourism spend which is created and perpetually keeps on growing. Point number 4 is statistics. Now, this point came up in the morning, and obviously there was a bit of confusion, and that's very correct. We require as a country to invest in 3 levels of statistics. One, where does the domestic tourism go, and actually how much do they spend? We need to, a complete footprint is required. It's currently estimated that domestic tourism visits approximately 2.3 billion or 2.5 billion domestic tourism visits. But where do they go? How much do they spend? What is the economic impact? That is not fully determinable. Second is, as Mrs. Rishi rightly said, when a foreign tourist enters, he is recorded at the point of immigration. After that, it's a conjecture by state governments that अगर 10 million tourists आते हैं, so उसमें से 33 million उनका impact होता है, मतलब एक foreign tourist तीन states में जाता है इंडिया के. But this is not proven. What it's required. So if tomorrow one of you is a hotelier and you want to set up, say, a hotel in Nalanda or a hotel in Visakhapatnam, जैसे आपने कहा, how will they come to know of the exact data point? If you don't have the exact data point, you will never be able to estimate the correct business economics. The fourth thing in statistics is, it is estimated कि अगर हमारे 11 million foreign tourists आ रहे हैं, 10 million foreign tourists आ रहे हैं, they're actually not all foreign tourists. And this is a key concern. Half of them are supposed to be people who come on official visit. Another 20% are supposed to be people who come on conferences. So the actual number of foreign tourists is estimated to be approximately 3 or 4 million out of 10 or 11 million. Now this is a point of really big concern, which means that people are not actually coming in for looking at Indian tourism holistically, whereas we believe that Incredible India is making an impact. So this is something that, but again, this is conjecture. So we need to look at that very importantly. ब्रांड एम्बेसडर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ अगर आप आजकल जगह जगह इंडिया में जा रहे हैं, सचिन तेंदुलकर से ज़्यादा उनकी डॉटर की फोटो ज़्यादा दिख रही है, एंड दैट इज बिकॉज हिज डॉटर इज द ब्रांड एम्बेसडर ऑफ टूरिज्म ऑस्ट्रेलिया नाउ. एंड वाई हैव दे टेकन हर as a brand ambassador? Because they know that she is popular because of a certain reason in the country. We don't have brand ambassadors. And one of the key things that we need to look at, if we want to grow tourism on a sustained basis, we need to have brand ambassadors who are unique to each country, but for which again a tourism budget is required. And we need to identify our top 10 markets, identify local people who are popular there, and look at brand ambassadors for them. होटल्स की बात आई थी, एंड देयर इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग वी नीड टू नो हियर. हम चाइना और अमेरिका की बात अगर कर रहे हैं तो ये भी देखना चाहिए अगर डिमांड है तो सप्लाई की क्या स्टैंडिंग है. चाइना एंड अमेरिका ईच हैव ऑन एवरेज 15 million hotel rooms. 15 million. India has around 2 million hotel rooms, out of which only 10% of them are in the organized category. Organized category means which are branded. 90% of them are the ones that you may not be in a position to visit. Now this means that if we have to grow tourism, this is a demand angle that we just discussed about branding, about marketing. This is a supply angle. Supply angle, if you have to grow, now each hotel room, ladies and gentlemen, on an average, अगर हम 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star का weighted average लें, each hotel room comes around 50 lakhs per room. Which means 50 lakhs per room to construct. Which means if we have to grow tourism and grow hotel rooms, we require approximately 30 lakh crores. और अगर हम बैंक का लोन इनकॉर्पोरेट कर ले, मतलब 15 लाख करोड़ प्राइवेट इक्विटी से आएगा, जिसके लिए इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू हैव होटल्स एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर स्टेटस अ सर्टन, जिससे आपका रेट कम हो जाएगा. अभी थोड़ा 50 डेस्टिनेशंस पे अलाउ किया गया है, but that needs to be encouraged. In terms of destinations, now if you look at the American model, we know there is Disneyland, we know there is Las Vegas, we know there is New York, we know there are these 3 or 4 clusters. However, in India, we do not have tourism clusters. Some years back, when we worked with the finance ministry, they announced a scheme called mega tourism zones. And this is what is required to create radical tourism growth in India. You require to have a mega destination in the north, a mega destination in the south, west, east and northeast. These will become magnets for an integrated development for tourism. And each of these destinations, ladies and gentlemen, can have approximately 30 to 50 million tourists. However, as was rightly said all along in the morning, they need to have an integrated development approach till the last mile. A very important part of
Ashish, if I may ask you something on this point, and if we can be more specific, India's source countries have always been those traditional, USA, UK, now Bangladesh and all. Now BRICS has become very active.
Yes.
And BRICS has been enlarged also. Now BRICS is relatively stable, peaceful compared to most of the Western countries and in US also. Similarly, the Asian countries, India and thaw between India and China. Now, do you think that India can increase its inbound tourism from these, new areas, or maybe we can tap these new source countries because we have good relations? So, can you just give me a one-liner or maybe your own thoughts on this?
No, it's a very good question. To put that in perspective, around 60% of India's, as Mr. Joshi rightly said, 60 or 65% of India's tourists originally came from the Western markets. If, as he's rightly saying, if we have to move towards these markets, 3 or 4 things are important. Number 1 is the flight connectivity. Number 2, and this morning, as Rajiv was saying, that has been postponed. Number 2 is the visa on arrival facility. If we are able to ensure that there is visa on arrival facility. Number 3 is the payment. The payment, how do you make payment in this? If you go ahead and, for example, if you're going to China or you go to Russia or Brazil, and you can make payment in Indian rupees, like today you can make payment in Indian rupees in Dubai or Sri Lanka, or at least you can convert them without going through the dollar arbitration. This will ensure, these 3 things minimum will ensure that the traffic
So,
will be.
Mr. Ashish, we'll come back to you
Yes,
maybe in the
yes.
second round. So,
Yes.
I thank you very much, and it's been a wonderful thoughts that you projected. In fact, the idea of taxation and especially your domestic spends, how much a domestic tourist spends, where does he go, how many times he goes, that is still officially it is not known, and I think we need someone. In fact, many consultants, those foreign consultants keep asking, do we have any official figures for these domestic tourism? But every time, the Ministry of Tourism doesn't compile except for the DTV.